And it'll do just that. Match point once again. Can you believe it?
This is the Tecnifibre TFX1, the weapon of choice of Corentin Moutet, and today I'm going to tell you exactly what I think about this racket. That's right, this is the weapon of choice for Corentin Moutet, the TFX1. I brought it out, hit serves, returns, played it in all the situations needed to give a good review, and this racket might surprise you. I'm excited to unpack this. It's a little bit different than some of the other Tecnifibre rackets that I've played with. That's why this racket is exciting, and it's quite unique as well. Let's jump into it. First, let's talk about how this racket looks. I always like to start with breaking down how a racket looks in the review. That's the first thing you see when it's on the shelf or online, is how it looks. You can't really see how it plays because this is just the first thing. You see what a racket looks like, and a lot of the time that will be able to capture a player's attention if it looks good. It's just the truth. And I like how this racket looks. It's different. There's not many white rackets out there nowadays, and I think it's cool how they got the yellow highlight kind of accents here. One thing to note is Tecnifibre does a great job with their grommets here. Tough to see. It's very pronounced, the grommet. It's very strong. So I don't know how you would replace these. Maybe you never do, or you just snap them on top of when you do the rest of the grommet. But yeah, just one visual thing that's very different compared to most rackets. So let's really jump into the specifics of this racket on the playtest. So right away, the Groundstrokes. Didn't really know what to expect with this racket. It's definitely more of a power-oriented frame. It's got a thicker beam here. I put Restring Sync at 50 pounds in here. That's the string I've been using through my demos over the last 6 months, I believe. Just fits well in a lot of different rackets. I can really get the true feel about every racket I put that string in. So the Groundstrokes, a lot of power and a lot of access to spin. I feel like this racket is going to be the power spin frame of Tecnifibre. That's what they're going for, and I believe that they executed on that, because that's what I felt, at least from the back. You are able to get a ton of power and spin. This is like their pure arrow. So if you're looking for a racket that's going to give you a lot of power and spin, this will be the one. I think it's too much for me. I had to like tame it down. Like I felt like I had to like swing a little less or change my swing a little bit compared to what I'm using right now, a Wilson blade, or in the past Extreme Tour or Radicals. They're a little bit more control oriented rackets. I just feel better with those. However, when you connect well with this on the ground stroke, it is gonna shoot out very nicely. A lot of power, a lot of spin. We'll say outside of the string bed, when you're not making contact, the racket did feel a little flimsy on the ground strokes. I will get to that when we talk about stability a little bit more. But for now, this has a lot of good qualities. However, it's too much power, I think, on the ground strokes for me, but this is a pure drive, pure arrow type of racket. Probably one of the rackets that I've tested with the most amount of power from ground strokes. So it does perform quite well. I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now up to the net. Now I did talk about how the string bed outside of the sweet spot was it gave me a little bit of trouble with stability, but up at the net I didn't have that problem at all, which is strange because normally when a racket has stability issues, you can really feel it up at the net, but I did not have that sensation whatsoever. This connected really well at the net for me. In fact, it reminded me of the Pure Arrow Rafa Origin. That was a racket that just felt like rock solid at the net. And this racket felt unreal at the net. Like you felt like the volley was really moving through the court, and you could put some nice touch on the volleys as well. I'm going to give this one a 9 and a 10 up at the net because of how solid it was. Once again, there's no weight added. This racket feels pretty light overall. Yeah, really happy with how it performed at the net. It actually surprised me given what I felt at the baseline. So people that want maybe a little bit of a lighter racket that performs well at the net, maybe you're a doubles player, I really like this one up at the net. Let me know if you guys have felt similar feelings with this racket up at the net. Really not what I expected whatsoever. So well done, Tecnifibre, in that department. Now to the serves. This thing is a rocket launcher. So if you want to go for big flat serves, this is going to be the one for you. If you want to hit big heavy kick serves, this is going to be the one for you. It really is giving you a lot of access to power and spin on the serve. So was very happy there. The only thing that I struggled with is hitting my spots, and maybe if I had some more time with this racket and I really played with it for a longer period of time, I played in a tournament with it, maybe I would be able to really dial it in, but I don't really have that time to play with a racket for like more than weeks and months at a time, just because I'm playing myself and I'm coaching and I need to review other rackets. So yeah, that would be the only letdown I think on the serve. As far as like the spin power category on the serve, this is insanely good, but I would like to be having a little bit more pinpoint precision and control in the serve. So for now, I will give it a 7 out of 10 on the serve. It had the possibility of being a 10 out of 10 if I was able to dial in that precision. But once again, I got a pretty control-oriented string in here. Maybe if I strung it a little tighter, more than 50, I would have a little bit more success on the serve, but 7 out of 10 on the serve. On the return, similar to the Groundstrokes, felt a little bit of a stability issue at times, just when I was not connecting in the middle of the racket, so a little unforgiving at times. But other than that, chip returns, able to do no problem. Back, maybe a heavier return. I think a lot of people are going to like that. Nice kind of like Corentin Moutet forehand lefty, yeah, kind of like that. From the back on the return, you can do that, no problem. It's nothing special. It gets the job done. I'm going to stick it at a 7 out of 10, but it's really just that stability issue that I struggle with from the back. Maybe if I added some weight, that would fix it up a little bit for me. Try not to add weight to rackets, so I want to review rackets for what they are as stock form. In the power category, we're going to keep this one brief. This is a 10 out of 10, easy. Easy, easy, easy. I don't know if I've really played with the racket that gives as much power as this, at least considering the string that I have in here too. It's just flying. Sometimes it's not always in the court. That's where I could get into trouble. Maybe there's too much power, one could argue. If you're used to using very control-oriented frames like Pro Staffs and Prestiges, maybe your Radical, CX line, all these types of rackets, I don't think you're going to like this actually, because it's at the other end. However, if you're using V-Cores, E-Zone, maybe you came from like Burn, from Wilson, maybe you're using a Boom, rackets, pure arrow, pure drives, you're gonna probably gravitate towards something like this a little bit more, since it's just naturally powerful. You got that thick beam, and yeah, it's a 16 by 19 as well. It does look a little different the way the string layout is. These are like kind of exactly squares through the bed. I know that doesn't maybe sound great when I say that, but like the bed, the way it works, it's like perfect square. Usually when rackets are a little bit more oval shape, they're kind of more rectangle-y. So that's just one thing to note. The bed does look a little bit different. So just wanted to note that. But on the control, so the opposite of power, I feel like it would be nice if there was a little bit more, but this is a tough one. When you're trying to have a lot of power, you will lose out on one or the other. In this case, we're losing out a little bit on control. It would be nice to have a little bit more. I'm going to stick it at like 5.5 out of 10 here. On the Groundstrokes, having that inconsistency in the bed for stability. Maybe the ball's flying. Maybe it's not really landing where I'm wanting. Don't get a feeling like how I would on my blade, for example. But these are two completely different rackets, so tough to compare. Would be nice to get more control, but once again, I don't think that's really what this racket is for. So 5.5 out of 10 on this category. Now to maneuverability. I didn't have any problems with this racket at all. It's pretty light, moves through the air quite nicely. Up at net, when a ball was coming faster or whatever, no issues. Changing grips, issue with either. Ball coming in hard at my feet, no issues. So I gotta grade this quite high. I'd probably say about a 9 out of 10. Some rackets can tend to have more problems in this category than others, but this, I didn't even really think about this category when I was on court because it didn't really even pop up in my head just because it did so well. So this is kind of a category that we often forget about, I feel like, but it is important. So 9 out of 10 on maneuverability. And now for a quick break. Let's talk about the new Restring half set boxes. They've just released these new Restring half set boxes. To partner with them for this video, thank you Restring for sending these out. So what's inside these boxes? They're half sets of strings. So you can either get the Zero in the Sync, or you can get the Sync in the Vivo, their newest string. The Vivo string is kind of like that happy medium in between the Zero and the Sync. So if you want to try out just the Vivo, that's a great string as well. I've used that plenty and plenty of times. But these half sets are a great option if you're really not sure where you want to go yet in the Restring lineup. You can get one or two of the boxes, but they also work well, especially if you're wanting to hybrid. So once again, this box that I just pulled out, you get the Sync and the Zero. So these are half sets. So with one set, you cannot string a full racket. You can string half, so that's why they give you a bunch of each, just like this. And then the other box is one back here that has the Vivo in the Sync. So if you guys are interested in picking up one of those, you guys can use my code at Restring if you want to get a reel or just one string by itself. You also can use my code. But this is a great offering from Restring to test out all of their strings. It's not often that you get to try a lot of strings at once, and this is a great offering for them. So I strongly suggest if you want to try any Restring products, check them out. You can try them in a hybrid, you can try them by themselves. That's the beauty of this new box that they've just released. So thank you, Restring. But back to the video now. We have made it to that category that I've been picking on, the stability. I felt like this racket was not stable a lot of the times from the back. Just felt like it was a little flimsy, a little chintzy. It felt a little cheap. I hate using that word because I know a lot of people put a lot of time into rackets, and this is a good racket, but it was just light in the hoop, which had this sensation of when the ball's connecting with it outside of the bed, it's just kind of got this little waggle going on. That happens with rackets sometimes for players. That happened with me with this one, especially faster swing speeds. I still felt it. Sometimes when you swing faster with rackets, that issue kind of goes away. For some people, it gets worse. This, for me, just kind of stayed true the whole time. I found it was worse when I had like a medium acceleration, when I wasn't really going after it, but I wasn't just kind of putting it back and guiding it. It was kind of like that in between, which is kind of the worst when that's happening. So I really did not like that. It really was just mostly happening on ground strokes in return. With the serve, I didn't feel it as much. Volleys, like I said, it was great, which is really strange, but you're hitting a lot of ground strokes when you're playing matches, when you're hitting, when you're training. That's going to be an issue. It was an issue for me. So this will grade quite low, 4 out of 10 for me. You can still play with it, but it's definitely something that bothers me. I would probably tinker with weight with this for sure. However, it would crank up the power even more. I would be afraid of that. So make sure we're noting that. 4 out of 10 on the stability. Comfort, no issues whatsoever. I got Restring Sync here, which we just talked about. Very stiff poly control string and a pretty powerful frame. Usually this could be a call for elbow wrist pain. You got a thick beam as well. I didn't have any issues. For people that do have issues, I didn't. So you can definitely put a stiffer string in here. If for some reason you put a stiff string in here and you're still struggling, you can just drop the tension. You can put a hybrid in here, you can put natural gut, multi-filament. I don't think people are going to have issues with this racket with their arm or any part of their body. This will get a pretty high score here. I'm going to say 8 out of 10, just because even though I didn't have problems having a thick beam, having a powerful frame with a stiff string in here, there is a possibility for players. So be on the lookout for that, but I didn't have any issues. So 8 out of 10 here on this category. Are you getting down here near the end? Touch and feel. When I was at the net, I told you guys I really enjoyed it. Putting volleys away with this racket was pretty nice. Little drive, block volleys, no problems at all. I actually enjoyed hitting the slice with this racket. I felt like Moutet, that slice all day long, 40 feet beyond the baseline. He's doing that all day with this racket, so I had to give that a go. Lots of slices, lots of slice forehands as well. I tried to test that out. No issues. It really cuts the ball. You can feel the power from this racket when you do slice. Little drop shots here and there, maybe not amazing there, but the overall category did much better than I thought. So we're going to put it at a 8 of 10. For some people, maybe it's going to be like a 7 or a 6, but I actually didn't have any crazy issues with that. So we're gonna stick it at the score that I gave it. Topspin, I've already been over this. This is a topspin monster and also a power monster, so those two kind of gel well together. If you want to hit high and heavy from the baseline, I think you're gonna have good success out of this. I preferred hitting topspin. I actually think on my backhand with this, just because the stability felt a little bit better compared to the forehand, since I have two hands on the racket on that side. So yeah, just ripping topspin from the back, you can't really go wrong with this racket. I know I've been talking about stability, but if we're just looking about topspin, it will perform well for a lot of players. So we're gonna give it a 9 out of 10 here. If you put another string here that's even more spin oriented, I got Restring sinking here right now, so you can really gear up the spin if you want to with this, and it would become an absolute monster. So 9 out of 10 with the spin for this one. And last but not least, the slice. I did briefly mention it. It definitely gets the job done. Is it going to be super precise and feel amazing like other rackets? No, it is not. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's not going to feel like a Wilson Blade. It's not going to feel like a Prestige. May not even feel like a Radical, but it feels pretty good. I would say, comparing it to a lot of its competitors, it does better than its competitors. So I'm going to put this at a 7.5 out of 10. But yeah, guys, overall, that is the Tecnifibre TFX1 version 2. It's a 16 by 19 frame, 98 square inches. Really cool looking racket, guys. So big thank you to Tennis-On too for sending me this racket my way to demo for you guys. You guys can pick it up on Tennis-On, use my code for a discount, use my code for any other products that are on Tennis-On if you want a racket, shoes, strings, grips, anything that will need or that you need for your tennis game. So that's gonna do it for today. Thank you guys so much. This was a really fun play test. It's pretty cool looking racket, guys. I mean, just look at this. Super cool. So we're going to catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you later. Go play some tennis.